Welcome to DML Discovery Metal Legion. Hang on, I've got to take my AirPods out because I just heard the end so far for the 10th time. Well, we're reviewing the brand new Slipknot album, The End So Far. You guys voted for it, and majority of you wanted to see this review for Slipknot's brand new album. Now, Slipknot released a brand new album called The End So Far on the 30th of September 2022. The previous album was We Are Not Your Kind back in 2019. That's crazy to think that was 3 years ago. I still think that We Are Not Your Kind is still a very fresh Slipknot album. Like, it doesn't feel like 3 years since their last release. But We Are Not Your Kind definitely had experimentations. And you could say that The End So Far is quite experimental as well. On this album review, I'm going to give you my thoughts on what I thought about The End So Far. So, as you all know, Slipknot debuted their album in 1999. So, Slipknot, in case you don't know, are one of my favorite bands of all time. Absolutely fucking love them. I love every single album that they have done. Even I enjoy We Are Not Your Kind. So, what did I think about this album? I'm rambling on about it, and I thought this album was pretty good. It's a pretty good album by Slipknot. It's definitely not their best album. It's definitely not their worst album. It's just a pretty good album. And overall, there are a lot of influences from other bands on this album. I've heard this album about 10 times now enough, but I gotta say that this album does drag slightly, especially through songs like Heirloom, H377, Decide, and even Finale. There are some songs that maybe could have been cut down a little, but Slipknot play along with the more progressive side of metal on this album, with songs averaging about 5 minutes. There is one song, Medicine for the Dead, which is like 6 minutes long, and holy shit, it's an absolute banger. Yes, a lot of you probably thought that I would absolutely hate the brand new Slipknot album, but surprise, surprise, man, I'm a big fan of Slipknot. Absolutely love all their stuff. I don't think they cringe like a few other metal YouTubers think they cringe. I really enjoyed this album, and I think it's quite a fun album by Slipknot. Like I said with Behemoth made the most fun album in their discography, which was Opus Noctra Nashram, which was amazing. Well, Slipknot's released a really moody, melodic, melancholic album like The End So Far. So the reason why they named The End So Far was because they're ending that massive deal at Roadrunner's record, and basically they're independent now, and we don't know what's going to happen with Slipknot. Probably they'll sign with another record company or something like that and release a black metal album. That would be absolutely amazing. Can you imagine if Slipknot released a black metal album? Holy shit. The black metal elitists will go, "This is not black metal! Ah!" Anyway, Slipknot don't play around with black metal on this album. Hell no, they play more around with their new metal style along with heavy metal style, including elements of thrash metal and underbites of death metal throughout this album as well. This is a pretty light album by Slipknot, you could say, because Corey Taylor utilizes a lot more cleaner vocals. Dare I say, probably any other Slipknot album. He utilizes mainly clean vocals on this album. Some songs, of course, are harsh and aggressive. He utilizes those classic Slipknot vocal styles. But yeah, some of it is quite clean vocally. So, production on this is, in my opinion, sounding a bit rough. It's rough in a good way. It's quite dirty production. It's not polished like the other Slipknot albums, such as We're Not Your Kind was pretty polished. Even The Grey Chapter was pretty polished. But it's got that sort of debut album sound in terms of production. Yeah, I thought the production was stellar on this because it's got that raw drum tone. The sound of the snare sounds absolutely fucking fantastic. And the guitar work is really good. Thompson and Jim Root, holy shit, the guitar solos on this are fantastic. Songwriting, on the other hand, can be one-dimensional at times, but they do play around with the progressive metal flavors on this album. So first up, it kicks with Adderall. This is a really weird way to kick off an album because it's slow and somber. Corey Taylor's vocals are fantastic on this. Dare I say, Adderall reminds me of late Opeth era, like the late prog rock era of Opeth, especially the harmonization in the chorus. So yeah, I don't know, I got a really strong Opeth vibe on Adderall, and I really did enjoy it. Love how they utilize synth work on this particular song. And it's really good overall, a really good way to start off the album. Leads on with the dying song, Time to Sing. This song is much more of an aggressive song, slow intro building up to be quite an anthemic song. It was one of their singles. Nothing much I can complain about the dying song, Time to Sing. It's good. He utilizes more cleaner vocals on this song, but he does mix those harsh aggressive vocals that we all love by Corey Taylor. The Chapeltown Rag is next, and I feel this is the weakest song off the album. And no, I actually do enjoy it now, but I just feel that the overall music songwriting, the musical compositions at times can be a little bit jarring. When I say jarring, things don't really gel together. Nothing is catchy, nothing is as melodic as the other songs in my opinion, but I just feel that it is one of the weakest factors on this album. Yen is next, and this is an absolute banger. It's a slow-paced song, but it does build with a great scratchy solo on it. Really good stuff. There are some new metal elements. The chorus is quite catchy. It's headbanging at times, and that riff is friggin' groovy as anything, and I absolutely love it. Hive Mind is yet next, and yeah, there's a slow intro that builds. You'll find a majority of this album has slow intros and just a plodding effect to the song, which actually is like a crescendo, so it does build and becomes quite epic, and the climax doesn't really disappoint. Hive Mind is a fantastic song, melodic, catchy, tuneful, great guitar work, love the solos on this song as well. But then it leads on to the most fun song off the album. It's Warranty. Hello, this is fantastic. This is when Slipknot really released their creative juices on this album. There's a synth work on this, there's some great melodic riffs. There's also amazing guitar solo, but there's a really catchy, fun chorus that you want to sing along to. Some really enjoyable, aggressive, hard vocals, some gang chants as well. Even, dare I say, there's a bit of Iron Maiden influence throughout this particular song, Warranty, especially the riffs on it throughout the conclusion of the song. Next up is Medicine for the Dead. It's great. It is such a great song. One of my favorite Slipknot songs. The chorus is amazing. It's hooky. It's catchy. The vocals are very good as well. He utilizes cleaner vocals on this as well, but they do get quite heavy and aggressive in tone. Mick Thompson's guitar work is amazing. Jim Root's guitar work, not to mention Jane Weinberg's drumming is amazing. Love the odd time signatures, the great drum fills, and tiny little accents that you do notice, but the guitar underlay is absolutely fantastic, not to mention the production. It's quite an atmospheric song as well. And yeah, his vocals are very intense on this. Acidic is next, and holy shit, this is a very experimental song by Slipknot. When I say experimental, some of it does remind me at times like you're getting transported back in the 70s, especially if you listen closely in the background. If you listen closely, the cool, doomy laden riffs you're getting on the song sounding very similar to like a Black Sabbath song. It's so damn good. Acidic's fantastic. Cleaner vocals are utilized on this song, but it works overall, and it's a really good song. At times, you don't know where this particular song is going, and that's fantastic. There's also a killer solo on this, and yeah, it is just a terrific song overall. It is one of my favorites. Heirloom is next. A bit torn between Heirloom because at times it does sound like a Stone Sour song, Corey Taylor's other side project. Yeah, it's a good song overall. There is one of the best guitar solos of Slipknot's career on this song with H377 is absolutely fantastic. The particular instrumental part with the progressive metal flavor. But yeah, he mainly uses cleaner vocals on this. There's really nothing much I can say apart from that great solo you were getting of Heirloom. It's an alright song. Next up is H377. You could say this is probably the most aggressive Slipknot song off the album, and it's probably the last aggressive Slipknot song off the album as well. Yeah, this is just full on intense, extreme new metal. It's great. Love the flows on this. Corey Taylor's vocals sound fantastic, some great riffs, and just sounds like a classic Slipknot song that you want to headbang your head to. Next up is Desard. Desard is interesting. It does slow a little bit. It's definitely not my favorite off the album, but it's a good way to build up to the next song, which is Finale. Alright, Finale's got the most catchiest chorus off the album. I just love the chorus, and I just love the chugging riffs you are getting on the finale. It's just clean vocals on this. It's a great way to close off a chapter for Slipknot. Dare I say, this is probably the most epic song of the album. It's anthemic, it's melancholic, and not to mention just some beautiful orchestral elements that build throughout finale, and it's a great way to end off the album. So there's nothing really bad I can say about the new Slipknot album, The End, so far. Surely, at first listen, I wasn't really impressed, but this album, like We Are Not Your Kind, grows on you, and it grows on you and grows on you, just like a blanket. Slipknot, The End so far, is a solid album by Slipknot. Certainly not the worst album, certainly not the best album. It's just in between, in my opinion. So for Slipknot, The End so far, I'm going to give this a 78%. Certainly it's a really enjoyable album. It's going to grow on me for sure, but yeah, a 78% I think it deserves. So anyway, let's move on to the album ranking. So coming last in the Slipknot discography ranking is none other than The Grey Chapter back in 2014. We know this is dedicated to Paul Gray, but I feel some of these songs just lack in substance. I remember when the -1 was released, and holy shit, I was surprised, I was amazed how good the song was. And The Devil and I was an amazing song as well. But some of these songs just drag. This album is quite a long album as well. And I just feel that like some of these songs don't really flow. And this is one of my least played albums by Slipknot. I just feel that some of these songs aren't as catchy, aren't as melodic as the other songs from other albums. And yeah, I do enjoy this album, don't get me wrong, but it's just not my favorite album. Okay, so next up is very controversial, but it's the debut album Slipknot. Yes, this is a classic. Yes, this is such a really good album, but I feel like a lot of albums from this band are a lot better than the debut album. Yes, it was the time where there was quick, fast-paced songs, great new metal, and just Corey Taylor's vocals are just absolutely insane, but his vocal work on some other albums are a lot better. Great songs like Wait and Bleed, Surfacing, Spit It Out are classics. Songs like Tattered and Torn, Prosthetics, and none other than Only One of Us Walks Away. Yes, there are catchy moments, some great hooks, and there are very enjoyable licks, great melodies, but yeah, like I said, it's not as good as the other Slipknot albums. Next up is All Hope Is Gone. One of a lot of fan favorites, least favorite album by Slipknot, and I can understand why, but this album's a banger and it really grows on you. Songs like Dead Memories, Psychosocial, Gehenna, Gehenna's amazing. Gehenna is incredible. I love the guitar melody on that. This Cold, Black Wearing Lies Continue. Some really classic songs like Sulfur, Demetra, The Killing Name. So damn good. Vendetta, Butcher's Hook. So there are some really great songs on this. I'm tempted to move this higher because I absolutely love All Hope Is Gone. But yeah, All Hope Is Gone sitting here. Next up is We Are Not Your Kind, 2019 album. And yeah, this album's fantastic overall. I love I love how they utilize symphonic elements on this particular album. Songs like Unsainted, especially the choir, Birth of the Cruel, Death Because of Death. Nero Forte is such a weird song with the cool falsetto Corey provides throughout the chorus. Critical Darling, A Liar's Funeral. When he screams liar, those vocals are incredible. Spiders is such a weird song, but then you got songs like My Pain. My Pain is one of the worst Slipknot songs. I fucking hate that song. There are a few interludes on this, and this really does drag the album down a little bit, because I would have had this album a little bit higher if there wasn't such intervals, and if we didn't even have My Pain on this. My Pain is terrible. I don't like that song. This is my pain. But songs like Solway Firth, Great aggressive metal album by Slipknot. It's definitely one of their heaviest. Next up is the new one. I think the new one is really good. It is easily one of the best albums, modern day Slipknot albums. It is the best modern day Slipknot album. I really enjoyed the songwriting. I love how different this album is. There are slow plodding songs, but there are also some great melodic, heavy riffs on it, some interesting guitar solos, some riveting drumming as well. Yeah, the end so far is fantastic. Next up is Volume 3, The Subliminal Verses. Hello, this album's magnificent. Songs like The Blister Exists, 3-0. 3-0 is such an underrated song. Duality, even Circle, Vermilion, Pulse of the Maggots. We are the Pulse of the Maggots. The Nameless, The Virus of Life. A weird album overall. One of the first experimental albums they made, but it works overall. Easily one of my favorite albums by Slipknot. And finally, the creme de la creme. It's none other than Iowa. I absolutely love this album. I adore this album. I play this album countless times, and this is amazing. This is the classic Slipknot sound that I absolutely fucking love. This is the most heaviest Slipknot album. This is a gateway to get into extreme metal, to get into heavier bands, to get into death metal overall. Great songs like People Equal Shit, Disaster Piece, Everything Ends, If You're 555, then I'm 666. The Heretic Anthem, Gently, The Shape, I Am Hated, songs like New Abortion, Metabolic, not to mention Iowa, the really dark atmospheric song, how it just builds and builds. This song's like 15 minutes long. This is the longest song by Slipknot, but holy macaroni, this album is probably the most aggressive, darkest album by Slipknot. Not to mention the background is pretty chilling as well. But yeah, really do enjoy Slipknot Iowa, and Iowa is my #1 Slipknot album of all fucking time, and nothing's gonna beat it in the Slipknot discography. So yeah, let me know in the comments below your album ranking, and do you agree or disagree with my review? Keep the discussion going in the comment section below, and let's get heavy.